For the people that know me outside of YouTube, it's safe to say that they'll tell you that monk mode is not my default operating system. I definitely work hard, but I'm equally guilty of playing hard, and for a little too long as well. No regrets at all, but after feeling a little short on dopamine after a massive weekend recently, I decided that it would probably be a good idea to balance out my life a bit with a short period in monk mode. I mean, I can always downgrade to my previous operating system if this shoe doesn't fit, so what's the harm? Iman's monk mode mandatories are as follows: no alcohol or weed, sticking to a diet, daily meditation, and daily exercise. This protocol is designed to allow you to operate at the highest level possible over a short period of time, and in turn generates huge momentum toward achieving your goals. On top of these mandatories, I've decided to tweak the first one a bit and do no drugs at all, including the world's most deadly drug, refined sugar. Should be fine. So the first week was absolutely brutal. My emotions were all over the place. I cried for the first time during a comedy movie. I couldn't focus for shit. I think this was due to the lack of caffeine, which I've been habitually consuming since I was 8 years old. Not being perpetually stimulated made it feel like I'd contracted ADHD, and the dumbest thoughts kept coming into my head. Training was the only thing that seemed to give me relief from this. It was hard to focus enough to remember cues from my coaches, but other than that, physical performance felt as usual, just less cracked out and a little more boring. But we pushed through it. Meditation was a disaster during this week. I swear I caught myself thinking 5 thoughts at once, which I didn't even know was possible. Must just be getting through all the junk mail that's piled up over the years. The second week, things started to improve. Work and focus was still taking a massive hit, but my mind felt so much more peaceful and quiet. I started to feel understimulated at this point though, as I was no longer on stimulants. I dealt with this by ramping up my exercise to unsustainable levels for the week. Meditation was beginning to feel more peaceful, and I was starting to collect my thoughts and was more able to focus on my breath without things flying into my peripheries. I'm gonna be honest, there was not a single day during the first 2 weeks where I felt better than I did on stimulants. I wanted to quit and go back to consuming coffee, and even had dreams where I'd do just that. My sleep was worse, my work output suffered, I couldn't focus, and meditation just made all this noise even more noticeable. In other words, I felt like I devolved into whatever species came before humans. Thankfully though, this didn't last. After I got rid of almost 20 years of caffeine that had built up in my system and was coursing through my veins, I could finally start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The 3rd and 4th weeks are where the benefits of monk mode really began to surface. I felt hydrated, I was sleeping better. In fact, it felt like waking up from a coma, my sleeps were getting so deep. And the dreams I was, and still am having each night, are Inception level unreal. The crossover of getting better sleep and not feeling perpetually dehydrated was starting to compound. I've been watching a lot of Andrew Huberman and implementing his incredible advice. However, one of the things I had been struggling with prior to monk mode is adopting the 90-minute sessions of deep work he talks about. My mind would come up with any excuse to take a short break and distract me. I'd then get pissed off at my mind for doing this, which would distract me even more and lead to a vicious cycle of really just getting less work done than I should have. On monk mode, however, I would set a 2-hour alarm and get so deeply focused that I'd actually be a little pissed off when my alarm went off, telling me that the deep work session was over. This is unheard of for me, but I will say that having an already very clean diet of whole foods helps massively, as the day preceding family dinner, where I ate a decent sized pizza to myself, were trash in terms of focus and productivity. I never really noticed these subtle changes when I was constantly stimulated, as the coffee high largely masked how I would feel the next day. Noticing this was definitely a blessing though, as I've not strayed from eating clean whole foods since. Work output did also increase, which I think is the main goal of being in monk mode, so that was also a plus. To not be biased in any way, I want to mention that there are well-researched benefits behind consuming substances such as caffeine. Caffeine is one of the most widely consumed drugs globally, with around 90% of the adult population consuming some form of the substance on a regular basis. Its benefits include enhanced focus and mood, reduced risk of disease and depression, and increased exercise intensity and satiety, which can aid in weight loss. At this point, you're probably asking, why would you give up caffeine when there are all these well-documented benefits associated with its consumption? This is mainly for personal preferences. I felt like the discipline it would take to give up something I love consuming, even if it's only for a short period of time, far outweigh the benefits I was getting from consuming the beverage. I also believe that there is no such thing as a free lunch. and that becoming too reliant on caffeine for exercise, work, and even social interactions felt like a crutch, and in turn a weakness. There are also some well-researched downsides to caffeine, including interruptions to sleep. These disruptions to sleep occur both while the drug is in effect and during the withdrawal phase. If you're a daily consumer of the substance, this withdrawal phase occurs every single night. Over time, this takes a toll on your natural energy systems, and is part of the reason why it is so easy to become dependent in the first place. Sleep is not something I personally want to mess with too much, and as someone who metabolizes caffeine very slowly, I'll notice the effects even during periods I was only consuming 1 cup per day early in the morning. Personally, I love caffeine, but it got to the point where I knew that the benefits of quitting would outweigh the short-lived benefits of consuming more caffeine. It is also fun to test yourself from time to time and do something that challenges yourself, whether that's doing prolonged fasting, breaking an exercise personal best, or in my case, giving up my morning carpet for a while. There are benefits from mastering self-discipline that cross over into all aspects of life. Although this period of monk mode did not unfortunately turn me into Iman Gadzhi and give me his wealth, work ethic, or business expertise, it taught me a lot about myself and emphasized the importance of eating clean, exercising, and meditating when it comes to mental and physical well-being, which are both so closely linked. Toward the end of the experiment, I was able to focus for longer, didn't feel dependent on stimulants to get through life, gained a much greater appreciation for simple pleasures, and was overall more satisfied with my life. To my surprise, I actually enjoyed this month-long experiment so much that I'm going to continue it for a minimum of 90 days, and potentially even keep it going for a year. Iman did warn that you will feel like killing yourself if you stay in monk mode or deprivation mode for too long. So if it comes to that, I'll definitely treat myself and intravenously shoot up with some coffee. Cheers.